Hi, welcome to our channel. This is the girl Toya. Here we talk about nursing information. We give a lot of information about nursing opportunities, what it's like being a nurse, and today our topic is going to be migration to USA as a registered nurse. Before you begin the migration process, it's crucial to understand requirements set by the United States authorities. The following are key prerequisites. Okay, so one is your education evaluation. They are going to have approved agencies that will use your education that you took at home, and they're going to compare it to the US nurse education standard. Once it is equivalent to the nursing standard that is provided in the US, you will be able to be granted a visa screen. Now, before you get to the visa screen, some nurses are coming from countries where English is not your first language. If English is not your first language, you will have to take an exam called the TOEFL or the IELTS or the IELTS exam to demonstrate your knowledge and skills in speaking English. One tip I can let you know before you start this process is your nursing license in your current country must have no bad reputation or disciplinary actions or suspensions actions against you. Okay, because they're going to be contacting your nursing council or your state board or whatever registration company you are under as a registered nurse. They will be contacting them to ensure that your license is basically a valid license. After you get approved from CGFNS or any of the agencies, because I believe there are more than one agency that does that education evaluation. We have Joseph Seeley also does it for like nurses that were trained in Spanish speaking countries or foreign speaking countries. So this cost of evaluation and comparison that they do is going to cost you about $400, and it takes about 180 days. Now at the end of the evaluation, they will give you an exam. That is part of it. Once you pass that basic exam, you will be able to be granted a visa screen. The visa screen is what is needed for you to use to be able to get to register to do the state licensure. So you will pick which state you are interested in going to, and once you pick the state, you research where the different examination centers are. So you will submit an application to the nursing board of that state. So if you're going to take the state exam in New York, you submit an application with your visa screen to that state board to apply for permission to do the exam, which is the NCLEX exam. Once you get acceptance by the state board that you have the ability to take that exam, you will go on the Pearson VUE website to register to take your NCLEX exam. Now, make sure and study, make sure and research NCLEX and learn and be ready. It is a tough exam. So after you get your Pearson VUE registration, you will get something called an ATT, which is your authorization to test. Once you get your ATT, it is valid for 90 days. You will be able to register to take your exam. So you will be, let's say your ATT came out January 1st, you have until January the 31st to get that exam completed. So you will pick a center in the state that you applied. When you finish doing all of that and you have passed your exam, congratulations, you have passed your NCLEX. You are now officially a registered nurse of the United States. That is now your license. You have your license to work in that state. Okay? So when you are registered in New York, you are registered to work in the state of New York as a registered nurse. Now you have to gain employment. So what you do is you look for an employer or a petitioner, as they would say, to get to be able to petition for a visa, an immigrant visa for you. You will need to get an immigrant visa or what is called a green card or permanent residency to be able to work as a registered nurse in the US. Some healthcare institutions do direct hire, some don't, and they use nursing agencies such as Avant, MedPro, O'Grady, Peyton International, Worldwide International. So these agencies apply or petition to the USCIS on your behalf to be granted a permanent residence or an immigrant visa to be able to work. Once you are working with whatever agency or company that you picked, you have to follow with their instructions in completing and providing them with the information as needed. You will have to pay for your appointment with USCIS. You have to pay for your visa. That visa is about $300 approximately. You'll have to go through a medical, and then you have to go interview with the consular officer. When you go in, you have to be already employed, so you'll have to get a job letter. So you will have been gained employment from the nursing agency at a hospital location, or if it's a direct hire to the hospital, they will grant you a job letter, and you go in the US consulate with your job letter, your information packet from CGFNS, as well as your medical screening and your documentation from your hospital or nursing agency, with your documents as in your birth certificate, your marriage certificate if you're sponsoring your spouse, the dependents, their birth certificate, all proof of information. You will have to go to the interview with these things. Once you are granted via the consular officer, if he's satisfied or she is satisfied with the documentation that you have brought and your sponsorship was satisfying to the USCIS, yes, they will grant you a permanent residency or an immigrant visa. When you get your immigrant visa, you will be able now to be starting your process of migrating to the US. Congratulations, you have completed the initial start of being able to work in the US, because now that you have your permanent residency, you have to prepare to make the transfer and migrate over to the US. So remember guys, nurses do it better. Bye.